This past summer and fall, I left beautiful Los Angeles, California to embark on a 2.5-month journey throughout Asia. Whether it's with my friends, my family, or myself, each destination and experience was unforgettable and inspirational in its own way. 10 countries, 27 cities, 17 planes, and countless trains, buses, car rides, and walks. Oh, and a lifetime of memories. And you're coming along with me for the ride. From Bali, we flew to our 5th destination, Cambodia. First, we stopped at Siem Reap, the city of ancient ruins. I was joking to my friend about the driver showing up in a tuk-tuk to pick us up from the airport. Little did I know, he really did! We had a lot of luggage and wasn't sure how it could fit in a tuk-tuk, but somehow it all fit. After dropping off our bags, we set off on our tour. From our hotel, we booked a 2-day tour with a private tuk-tuk driver for $50 total. You basically get to see the dozens of ancient ruins that still stand in Siem Reap today. It's amazing to see what withstands time. I love architecture and history, so stepping into these sacred sites is just a surreal feeling that brings you back in time to really get that first-hand cultural experience. Our first stop was in Angkor Wat, the largest religious site in the world. Honestly, people do recommend you to see that last because once you see the Great Angkor Wat, the other ancient sites do not compare. We did go there first, and while it was amazing to see all these different ancient sites, after a few, they do all start to look the same. I did kind of wish we hired a tour guide to explain the history of each site, so our experience at each site would have been more unique and interesting. An important note is to make sure you wear appropriate clothing, i.e. no bare shoulders or anything above the knee or too much cleavage because they are sacred sites after all and you want to be respectful of the people there. It was a sweltering hot and humid time when we went, and I felt like I just took a bath considering how much I was sweating walking in the hot sun all day. Thankfully, even though I covered up, I chose to wear very light and airy pieces that let my skin breathe. Also, make sure you get your driver's number even if you don't have a working phone. Your driver usually waits for you until you're done, but it took us about 45 minutes and many askings and borrowing of phones to find our driver. We didn't have much time left before the ruins closed, so we ended up taking another driver, only to have our original driver pull up to us after our second stop. Needless to say, it was an awkward situation, but he did end up giving us a $5 discount for the frustrating experience. One thing I noticed about Cambodians is that they really don't have much. Actually, I felt that out of all the countries I visited, Cambodians have been hit the hardest with poverty, but yet they still enjoy the simple things. We stopped our tuk-tuk driver to watch the sunset by the lake with other locals, and it was a very peaceful and serene and beautiful experience. Right outside our hotel was a night market. Cambodia is one of the cheapest places we visited, a whopping $2 for an hour massage. Crazy, right? There are portable bar stands placed throughout the streets and even a pub street we didn't really get to explore. Cambodia was also one of the first places where we saw deep-fried bugs like scorpion and cocoons. I was very close to trying one just for the experience, but I couldn't get myself to eat it, and I think I like it better that way. There was even a ladyboy show going on, which was really interesting to see. So all in all, the night markets are definitely a tourist attraction. Part of our tour package came with a waterfall, so on our second day we drove an hour and a half and back to go see this waterfall. I really wanted to see this other waterfall that's a lot bigger in this huge park, but it was too far away and it was too costly to get there. We were told a tuk-tuk couldn't get up to the Rocky Mountains, so it would have cost us about $60 for a taxi driver to have taken us there, so we settled for this smaller waterfall. However, if I knew we had to hike an hour to the waterfall and back, I would have never gone. It was sweltering hot that day and we were not in the right hiking attire, as you can see.
No, in height. We didn't walk. Yes.
And there's heat and humidity for a freaking waterfall, but it's tiny as hell. We spent the rest of the day seeing the rest of the ancient ruins. You do a lot of walking and climbing up very steep stairs with tiny steps, which I have no idea how people back then used to walk up those practically vertical stairs without falling over. By the end of the 2 days, we were exhausted and ready to fly to our second Cambodian destination, Phnom Penh. We hired a driver for $15 for the day. Although Cambodians don't expect tipped and everything is super inexpensive, I suggest you still tip well. On our way home the second day, our driver went to pick up his son and it was an adorable moment. We could tell he loves his son very, very much, and so do remember that the local people are still working hard to provide for their families just like us. For some reason, I thought Siem Reap was Cambodia's capital, so I was surprised to see Siem Reap still with dirt roads, so it does make sense that Phnom Penh, Cambodia's real capital, is more developed and has a city feel. It is also home to an extravagant royal palace. The king doesn't actually live there, so it's been used as more of a tourist attraction. After, we crossed the river to check out this whimsical temple, full of colorful facades and shrimp statues. We even talked to a monk that lived in a different temple across the road, so it was pretty cool to learn about monks and their lifestyle. Lastly, we visited a silk factory where we learned the process of making silk from start to finish. I even tried a hand at hand weaving. When we got back to our nice Airbnb, which was only about $14 a night, we found a rat. My friend and I were jumping on tables, holding onto each other and screaming, which was pretty hilarious actually. Thankfully, the host's husband came and saved the day. On our second day, we paid our driver $20 since our destinations were a little further that day. Before coming here, I really had no knowledge of the Cambodian genocide. We first visited the killing fields where thousands of people were executed. I remember hearing a personal story on the audio tour and just silently weeping to myself. I left a bracelet a monk gave me from Angkor Wat at the site in honor to remember the victims. After, we headed to S21 Prison, an old high school converted to a prison where they kept and tortured many civilians. It was a really chilling experience as many of the rooms still had the beds the victims were chained to. I even had to walk out of a room that contained prison stalls because I got the chills. There were pictures of all the victims and even survivor stories posted up. It really would have been cool if I met him as well, but my friend met a survivor and purchased his book. I would definitely say this experience impacted me the most, and one thing that I love about traveling is that you get educated along the way, gaining a better understanding of other human beings and realizing they're not much different than us. Thanks for joining me in Cambodia. Can you guess where I'm off to next? You'll have to find out next week. Check out my latest travel pictures on Instagram and to see when the next video is up. In the meantime, check out one of my last videos. Bye!